What's going on, everybody? Zera back with another video. Today we're going to talk about trash pools in MC. For the most part, MC is open shut case, right? Majority of guilds already have it on farm. We had it on farm our very first attempt. We cleared it last night, one-shotted everything. It was a snooze. Matter of fact, we did Oni, went to Stormwind, attempted to drop the head, wasted about 20 minutes there, still got to MC and cleared the first wing in less than 20 minutes. I mean, it was pretty ridiculous. Now, the thing though is that our guild, if you look at our logs, you look up God Tier Gaming on Pagle US servers, it's actually, we're #1 in speed for MC and Oni, and the big part about that is just the ability for our hunters to chain pull. Between me and Precision, we are monsters when it comes to chain pulling, doing call outs. So I wanted to walk you guys through my first night. Okay, so this first pull here is pretty self-explanatory. I place my marker in my trap. I say, okay, nobody goes past the tank, whose name is Dom6 in this case. We put a star on him. Okay, Dom, don't go past my trap. Don't go past my flare. Everybody else, don't come past Dom. And I put my primary hunter's mark up on the skull, and I mark skull and X. Skull is primary, X is secondary, and I walk up, I pull. I do a countdown even. I'll even go pulling in 3, 2, and then on what would have been 1, I don't say 1, I just pull. Now, something that I want to say here is I pulled there with an auto shot, and it didn't really dawn on me until after the fact that you really don't want to pull with an auto shot. It does damage, it causes threat. You really want to pull. You want to pull with something that's not going to cause any threat. Rank 1 Serpent Sting is probably one of my all-time favorites, or even like Trank Shot is a good option, because these things are going to be immune to Serpent Sting, or even if it's not, it's going to be such low amount of damage. It's like 28, 30 damage, something like that. It's ridiculously low. It won't take anything. Anybody does anything over 15, 20 immediate damage is going to immediately take threat off of you. And it's super low mana cost, which allows you to keep pulling later on. Now, this first pull is obviously pretty straightforward. I just wanted to talk about, placement, making sure that, nobody knows to come past you. And also the frost trap here. We lay these frost traps is a good measurement for our range. Range, if you're past the aura of the frost trap, you're wrong. That's basically what this is. Melee, obviously, pounds on everything from behind the target and watch your threat, so on and so forth. Obviously, when you're in your raids, if you are the primary puller, you need to be the one that's talking in this case. You in the tanks, that's it. Nobody else should be talking here. You're communicating with the tanks. See, the first target's already down. I'm already looking ahead. I'm looking in front of me. I'm saying, okay, I've got my target marked. I know where we're going. I'm observing this target. I'm looking at the thumbnail on the bottom right. And as soon as that target gets to a certain point, I call out to my tank, say Dom, incoming, pulling, and boom. As soon as I leave combat, I immediately enter combat. You couldn't pace this any faster, any better. This is beautiful. You pull the target across the bridge, straight to your tank. Everybody else knows, don't go. Okay, so this placement here is pretty crucial. Now, this was all intentional. This is something that we have discussed. Me and Precision, we talked to our tanks about this. We talked to the healers. That lip right there, Molten Core is notorious for having really weird lips or bumps or dips in elevation that will cause your healers and your DPS to lose eye of sight or range or whatever. So in order to make sure that everybody stays within sight of one another, line of sight, they can heal each other, they can do DPS to the mobs, we made sure Dom never goes over those lips. So he's going to tank that right there on that lip so that everybody else can continue to do damage, and it's a beautiful thing. If he goes any further beyond that point, all the range is going to have to come up to that lip, which is going to be much more dangerous and cause much more issues in the after the fact, because look behind him. There's a core hound here. There's another lava spawn there. Or excuse me, a Fire Lord rather. There's 2 more Molten Giants. You don't want to go anywhere near that bridge. So this is something else to keep in mind. Now immediately the lava spawn comes out, and I immediately switch targets. Now as soon as the spawn goes down, the Fire Lord's down, I pull the next one. Now I'm talking to our warlocks at this point. I've already talked to our warlocks. I said, warlocks, I'm pulling this Fire Lord. You pull this Fire Lord, it will pull the Lava Annihilator. It's completely unavoidable. Here he comes. So Lava Annihilator, I mark it. and then boom, it gets turned into a banish. No problems. So this is all pretty self-explanatory. And again, look where he's tanking the Fire Lord. He's tanking it right on that lip. Melee is going to switch to the spawn, and then after that, it's easy money. Range continues to attack the Fire Lord. Melee takes care of the spawn. Annihilator is going to come out of the banish, and at this point, these next few pulls, again, are pretty straightforward. We're going to go in here to, pulling these Molten Giants. I go ahead and pull these guys across the bridge. We don't go across the bridge, then we bring them to us. We tank them exactly where they were tanked previously. And, of course, then we go across the bridge. Now, remember, I pull this guy. I mark him, pull him. Dom tanks him right where he was standing. Now, I'm on the other side here. I'm looking behind me. I'm observing. I see that the Lava Surger's coming. And I'm like, okay, Lava Surger's coming. I call out to the Warlocks. We got a Banish coming. And then here comes our Warlock right there. Or excuse me, not the Warlock. Our other tank, our off tank comes up. Tanks the Surger. And then they banish it. So he holds aggro just long enough so that one of our attention Warlocks can go in and grab it. Now, there's a reason why we do this. Because if you banish the Surger immediately, the first thing that's going to happen is as soon as that thing comes out of its banish, it's going to charge straight for that Warlock. So what you want to do is you want to get the tank, your off tank, a third tank, whatever, you want to get a tank on it to get some aggro. So when it comes out of the banish, it's going to go straight for that warrior, and that warrior can be notified by the Warlock, hey, you've got another 5 seconds before it comes out of banish. Okay, awesome. I'll go back and I'll sit on top of it. So the Surger's going to immediately just come out, and it's just going to charge the warrior, which is right in front of him. It's not going to cause any issues. Now notice what we do here. The Annihilator is immediately defeated, and then everybody comes across the bridge, and then everybody stacks. This is Surger 101. You don't want to be standing on the bridge. You want to stack. Now, obviously, we got a Warlock, life tapping on the bridge. He comes off the bridge, and then boom, here comes somebody else back behind. I think that's our Master Looter trying to get all the lava cores. Everybody comes across the bridge. Everybody stacks. As soon as he comes out of banish, it's going to easy money. Now, I'm already looking ahead. Now, looking ahead, we see a couple of lava annihilators. Now, clear way to know if it's an annihilator or a Surger without even looking at it, or past looking at it, not looking at its name or anything. If they're stationary, they're annihilators. If they're zooming around, that's when you know they're Surgers. We see the Core Hound. I see the Fire Lord. I'm looking down. Okay, so I'm like, okay, so we did the Core Hound. I'm not too worried about the Core Hound. The Core Hound's moving at a pretty slow pace. So I'm going to go ahead and help these guys. I'm stacking, doing my job. Stacking. Okay, as soon as it gets down to like 10% health, I go ahead and move on to the next one. I'll mark this one. Pull it, leaving combat, entering combat. This is just straightforward, pretty easy, petty. Now, I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead because, as you can see, there's Annihilators. There's Annihilators here. There's a Core Hound here. There's Molten Giants across here. There's going to be a Core Hound that's going to cross this bridge here on the further down. So let me skip ahead here. Now, I'm staying on the other side of the tank. I'm staying in here and making sure that I do a really good job of circling my camera around and seeing if anything's coming up behind me. I've also got track elementals on, just in case a Surger comes flying up out of nowhere. I'm going to see it on my mini-map before it ever pops up. So as soon as that target goes down, I run down and I pull the next target, leaving, entering. That's how you want to see it. You don't want to have any downtime whatsoever. And if you keep things running smoothly, and your tanks are doing what they're supposed to be doing, your healers are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and not burning a whole lot of mana, it's just trash pulls. And now your DPS shouldn't be using a whole lot of special abilities. If you're a mana user, just use your base abilities. Don't go crazy. These are just trash pulls. And what you're going to notice here in a minute, we end up having an issue because when you get all of these trash pulls have a tie-in to a boss. For example, Core Hounds will stop respawning once Magmadar dies. Your Surgers will stop respawning when Gar dies. But until those two die, those two mobs will keep spawning and respawning. They've got like a, anywhere between a 14 to 20 minute respawn rate. It's pretty quick considering how long it takes you to get across these two bridges in here, take out Lucifron, take out the Molten Core Pups, and then also take out Magmadar, and then make your way back fighting the imps twice through. So looking at this, I'm like, okay, we've got a pretty stationary side of the room. Let me go ahead and prevent, an issue where somebody's going to body pull something back behind them. They're not paying attention. So we're going to take care of these Annihilators. So I'm going to skip ahead here a little bit further. Get these Molten Giants. Once those two Annihilators are knocked out, we pull the Molten Giants. So now I'm looking ahead. I'm thinking, okay, we've got a couple of Annihilators. We got the third Annihilator over there. We've got a Surger on the other side of this bridge. We've got a Molten Core coming. I've already got my hands on the Giants. There's Giants a little bit further down, but I'm not too worried about them just yet. I'm going to go ahead and I've already called out Dom. Notice he's standing beside me. He's not fighting the mob back behind me. The off-tank's already got that second Giant taken care of. Dom's at my hip. I'm like, okay, Dom, as soon as this Molten Core, this Ancient Core Hound comes across the bridge, I'm going to pull him, bring him to you, turn him away from the raid, and it's going to be easy peasy. Alright, so we went ahead and pulled the second set of Giants on the other side of the bridge. Once we took care of the padding Core Hound. Skip ahead a little bit. Alright, so what I've done here is I've pulled the Annihilator across the bridge. This is, again, you don't want to fight on a bridge. You don't want to fight on that narrow strip if you can avoid it, because people can back up, people can fall off. So better safe than sorry. So right here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm waiting till the target gets down to about 50% health. I believe I call out Dog or Mocha, one of my off tanks. I'm like, hey, I'm pulling this next one coming across the bridge. Leave, enter, boom. Bring it across the bridge. Here he comes. They're ready to pick him up. I'm going to have to fiend death here, I'm pretty sure. And I know this doesn't sound very complicated, and it's not. It's really not. But a lot of people are not. You have to be a little anal retentive when you start doing this stuff. You have to be really, attention to detail is a must. You got to be really anal, and you have to have a little bit of urgency. You really do. And that was the first thing that my guild leader, who's also our tank, and also many of the officers and raid team members, they were like, look, I loved it. I loved the way that you had a little bit of intensity, you had a little bit of urgency, you called things out, and it ran smoothly. Yeah, we weren't joking as much, but we didn't wipe. And we got MC done all in one night. So this was very, very, very crucial, and we've only gotten better. Like I told you, last night we did MC and own it. We have 2 raid nights. We have Wednesday, we have Thursday. We had everything done Wednesday night. We started right at 19:30, and we were done before 22:30. So it was quite lovely. So right here we got 2 Surgers. So the last thing you want to do is pull that Surger and imps, or pull that Surger and other things. Now this is where somebody in the guild made a mistake. I told everybody, make sure you hug the right side of the bridge, don't body pull, and you'll be fine. Well, unfortunately, somebody decided that they were going to body pull. So in this situation, this is why I'm standing here. So I can observe the situation and I can do the call out. As soon as I saw there was a body pull, I said, okay, tank, turn around, Dom, the star, turn on it, boom, he's got it. Surger starts charging, but then also with the Surger came the imps. So I'm already letting everybody know. We've got a Surger, Dom, get on it, everybody be sure to stack, mages take care of the imps. So this is not, this is not unrecoverable. This is pretty straightforward. I throw out a volley to aid the AoEers. So you just have to be very, very careful. And when things like this happen, it's not your fault. It's not anybody's fault, really. It's just something that, somebody wasn't really paying too close attention and you body pull. But the point is that you make sure that you as the puller and you communicate with your tank, hey, this happened, let's get on it, stay alert, here we go. That's why your tanks, your tank healers, and whoever your primary pulls are, and your markers and whatever else, those 3 people have to be able to pay very well attention, and things like that can be avoided. Things like that can be fixed, they can be averted, and a few people did die because of it, because that's going to happen, but it was nowhere near a wipe. It wasn't even remotely ugly. It just wasn't as smooth as we would have liked. So I get a couple of reses out. As soon as I see Zeo has a res on him, I'm like, okay, are we good? We're good. Alright, so I'm on the move again. So moving here, this is a pretty complicated move. You're going to have to try and pull this without pulling the imps as well. So I'm just waiting. I'm doing call outs. I'm like, okay, so I'm waiting. Here he comes. He's on me. Alright, tank, get on him. It's easy money. So At this situation, everybody stacks. These are just very not nice situations. But now notice what I did here. I couldn't see the Surger. I couldn't see him at all. So what I did was I just / target Surger because I saw that was again, I'm tracking elementals and the imps act as elementals, so you just see a bunch of red. Well, notice what happens on my mini map. You see that? That moved. I couldn't even see the Surger, but I knew he was there because I saw movement, and I was like, okay, / target Lava Surger, and then targeting him, marked him, everybody else can see him. Now Dom's able to know exactly where this guy's at, where he's coming from. So the next time he does a pass, I want to take him out. Here he comes. Take the shot. Boom. Didn't pull any imps here. This is a very beautiful pull. I'm very, very happy about this, how this worked out. And this is exactly how we do this pull now. Except, you know, now that we've had a couple of body pulls, everybody knows, okay, hug the right, hug the right. We can actually get through here without pulling. We went through this last night and didn't have any body pulls. It was very smooth. It was very clean. But this gives you an idea on how you want to balance this. Pull the imps, bring them out. I've dropped the trap. They're going to tank them on top of the trap. I've got entrapment so the imps can't run because they're going to get snared more than likely. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the trap goes, as soon as the tanks got aggro on the first couple of imps, unleash hell, and by the time the imps draw aggro to anything else, they're dead. Now, at this point, we come in here, and I'm telling everybody, okay, hug the right wall, hug the right wall, hug the right wall, hug the right wall. And again, nobody pulls. It's very clean, very crisp. I look in here. There's no imps past this point. So, again, hug the right wall, hug the right wall, hug the right wall. So, from this point forward, it's the Core Hounds. Now, you only have to pull 2 of these Core Hound packs, and these are pretty straightforward. Now, the most important thing here to remember is that all these Core Hounds have to die within 10 seconds of each other. And then once they die, once they lay down, they're not dead. You have to keep DPSing them. This is pretty clear. This is pretty straightforward. Everybody knows this. And, you know, once they start disappearing, then you know, okay, it's done. It's good. See, we still have Hellfire. We still have Blizzard going on. Okay, there's one. Okay, there goes the last one. Okay, now we know what to pull. This portion right here, we're working our way back out. So there's something here that I want to note. This Core Hound's padding across the bridge. We pull him. Ancient Hysteria, boom, Mocha, Dog, Dom, they're working on him. They got him. He's easy money. So as soon as this Core Hound gets down, I'm going to wait till the Fire Breath comes out because I don't want to get hit by Fire Breath. As soon as Fire Breath finishes, I run ahead, get across the bridge. Now, I do make a mistake here. I look ahead, and all I see is that Surger in that Core Hound. But let's look one more time when I glance up there. Okay, so does anybody see what I see? There's a Core Hound. There's a Surger. So I'm like, okay, this Surger's coming. I'm going to get him. There's a second Core Hound right there, and I didn't see him. The only Core Hound I saw was this one. So again, this goes back to the speed at which you're able to kill Magmadar. It looks like we were just a few minutes too late on Magmadar's kill, and we ended up having to deal with 2 Core Hound spawns. So I marked the Surger because he's gonna get to us a lot faster. So what we do basically, I'm pretty sure here we just off tank one and we main tank the Surger. Maybe we banish him here. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think Morgana's gonna step out and banish him, and then we main tank down the Core Hound. So there's the banish. There's the pull. There's Dom. It's easy money. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so we left combat. I'm running down. I'm going to grab this Core Hound. But as soon as I pull, somebody shouted out, hey, we got a Core Hound. I look up, and boom, there's that Core Hound that I missed. Okay, so nobody's infallible. And again, this was my first time doing this primarily, and this was only our second attempt at MC. So we still had some learning curves. And when I went back and saw the footage, I realized, oh, crap, I did actually see him. I just didn't realize it. I mean, I must have stared right at it and not realized it was a Core Hound. So, because there's a lot of red in MC, and sometimes it's hard to spot these things from far off. So, we've got them. We're tanking them both. That's why we have off tanks. That's what they're there for. and we tank it, we spank it. It's easy, it's cleaned up. But the important thing is that raid communication is key here. You can be the smoothest puller, you can have the best tanks, you can have the best healers, you can even have top of the line DPS geared to the teeth. But if you don't have communication, then you're not going to be able to recover from things like this. And thankfully, we had all that. We had the communication. Boom, the first core hound's down. We move on to the second one, and it's easy money. Now, the next thing I want to get to, and probably the most important thing here, is this corridor right here. There's a lot of pillars around here, and you want to really make it, like you see all these black spots on the minimap, these are all pillars. Well, these are very narrow corridors, and I guarantee you, matter of fact, it happened the first week we did it when Precision was pulling. He'd pulled one of these, I don't think it was a, I think it might have actually been an elemental. I think it might have been a lava annihilator, and he didn't realize that there were two molten giants standing on just the other side of one of those pillars, and he came around here, and he pulled the annihilator, which is like a little bit further out here on the mini-map. This is where I'm over here, and he came out, he was right here. Annihilator was like right here, but the core giants were like right here, and he couldn't see it. And he pulled, but when he pulled, he came, and then the giants aggroed with it. So you got to be really careful about knowing where you're looking. So right here, I know for a fact, okay, these giants are here. They're not going to go anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and just pull them straight back. Make sure everybody stays here. Make sure, you know, everybody's DPS is in at the top of the lip. Giants on a LOS. So I look down and I notice we've got a core hound that's patrolling. We got a couple fire lords. We've got a couple of giants, and then I see just the corner of a giant on the right side. I swing wide. I'm starting to look. I'm starting to pan the camera around. Start trying to figure out what I want to do, and then boom, there's the giants. I see him again. I'm like, okay. So those were the giants that we had problems with the week before. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna go out. I'm gonna go out of my way. I'm going to come all the way to this far side. I'm going to mark them. And I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, we've got a destroyer and we've got a giant. Destroyers have to die first. They're the big damage dealers. We want to make sure to knock them out first. So I notified Dom. I'm like, hey, bro, I'm over here. Come over to this far right side. I'm going to go and pull these guys up here. And we're going to tank them back here. That way we don't have to worry about Pats getting on our way, potentially aggroing something else. So I'm going to go ahead and step up, pull it, bring it back. So it's just something to keep in mind. Again, this seems pretty straightforward, but I promise you that, you know, our logs don't lie. We're top of the line for speed for a reason. Like we keep these pools rolling, and you know these are only getting crisper. Like I said, last night we burned through Oni and MC, and even went to go drop the head in Stormwind with the entire raid, and made our way to MC following that. We did all that in less than 3 hours. It was a very beautiful thing. Didn't wipe a single time. Didn't even wipe on trash. I mean, our trash pools are getting cleaner and cleaner and cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. And that's the key. If you want to be able to clear MC and Oni quickly, these are very important things. Now, this room right here, there's a lot going on. But all you have to remember is you've got your Annihilators aren't going to pat. Your Fire Lords are not going to pat. You've only got one moving target, and it's the Core Hound. As soon as I leave, I wait for my tank. I could have pulled right there, but I was like, no, my tank's on the far side of the room. I'm going to wait for him to get into my range, and then I'm going to pull, bring him over here, and we're good to go. Let me skip ahead a little bit here because there's an art to these pulls I want you guys to take note of. So right here, we got a Core Hound. I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and get that Pat taken care of, because if I don't, he's going to come back. He's going to get in our way. It's not going to be good. So obviously, you don't want to pull him and everything else around him. So I wait for him to split the difference between the two Fire Lords, and then I pull him as soon as we leave combat. Here he comes. Dom's got him. Moving on. So the next thing here is going to be pulling this Fire Lord. You just take it apart one piece at a time. Think of it as, instead of putting a puzzle together, you're taking a puzzle apart, and you're taking it apart one part at a time. Or even think of it like this. This is probably an even better analogy. Think of it as doing Jenga. You've got a tower. You don't want the entire tower to fall on top of you, so you observe your situation. So I go, what piece can I grab next to put me in a better position and not cause the whole thing to fall on top of me? Now, at this point on the screen that you guys are looking at this position, Dom is trying to tell me, hey, bro, like, there's no way you're going to be able to pull this. You're going to pull an extra ad. Let's go ahead and get one of our other hunters and off tanks. I'm like, no. I got this. This is easy. This is very doable. I've got room to move around now because we've killed all the other trash in the room. So I'm going to come wide here, and I'm going to pull this guy wide. I go a little bit further left than I probably needed to, but I do that so that when I pull, he comes straight at me and doesn't come at me at an angle. So as soon as he lets me know that he's good, we're in combat, pull him straight back. He doesn't aggro anything else around him. Now we get to the Gar, we get to pulling up to Gar, and this is pretty straightforward. These mobs are spaced pretty far apart. You can't really screw this room up. There is one, actually there's two core hounds that are padding, but otherwise these are very straightforward pulls. Most of them are giants. You got some stationary annihilators. You don't have any surgers at this point. You do have, like I said, a couple of core hound pups, and we're going to get to those in just a minute. Let me skip ahead here, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Because there's one thing, and we actually, well, say we. The other night, last night when we did this raid, the primary puller that was on, that was on for the night, didn't do this, and it ended up, costing us to deal with a core hound while fighting Gar. So I went ahead and pulled this core hound, pull him around. Now I noticed, did you see that? There's a core hound in that hallway here on this mini map. There's a core hound coming through that hallway. I hadn't quite noticed it just yet, but when I went back to review the footage after the fact, I noticed. I said, okay, there's that core hound. I saw him actually beforehand. I just didn't notice it. Well, as soon as that core hound goes down, I start taking a peek around the room again, and then there's that core hound. So I'm like, okay, he's padding. Let's go ahead and get this core hound. Let's get him knocked out. So these are the two core hounds that I was talking about. You can strategically pull around this one that we just killed, the one that patrols in front of Gar, and then you can pull him last if you want to, because again, he's not that important. You just make sure you pull him by himself, and you can either do it by either A, clearing one side of the room and then pulling him when he passes to that side of the room, or you can clear one side of the room when he's on the other side, and then basically you swap places with him, kill the stuff on the other side, and then you just wait for him to pull him at your moment's leisure. And then make sure you get this one in the hallway, because if you don't, I guarantee you, because we had it happen last night, somebody body pulled that core hound, even though he doesn't even enter the room, he just patrols the hallway. So that's pretty much it at this point. This is all pretty straightforward, and you've got your two lava elementals. So the big thing here is Fire Guard goes down first, or Flame Guard goes down first, Firewalker goes down second, and then you have your Warlocks banish your elementals. These pulls are nasty. These pulls are really nasty, and honestly, these fights, these trash pulls after Gar, right at the same time when you start trying to kill, Baron Geddon, this is where these trash pulls get just a little bit of a headache. Healers have a hell of a time healing them. There's a lot of AE damage going out. There's a AoE stuns going out. It's just a lot that you have to manage. And if anybody has a really definitive way of handling this without any problems with them, no hiccups, no damage output, nothing, if anybody has any advice, I'm open for suggestions, because I've been analyzing this footage time and time again. Honestly, the only thing we've really come up with is, Hunter stay at max range when you can, because there is a limit to these guys' ranged abilities. I think like 35 yards is the max range. So even regular casters, if you have your 36-yard range bonus, you can get out of the range of it too. But that's it. I mean, it's pretty unforgiving. Really, the only thing we've told people is, hey, bring spare fire protection pots and fire resistance pots, because this is the place in the raid that you want to take it. Because, I mean, look at that. I took one shot, and my health went from 100 to 21%. I mean, these pulls are no joke. Now, talking about this core hound, this is the last thing I want to talk about, because everything else after this is pretty self-explanatory. There is one spot with a core hound later on, like right before you get to Golemag. But this guy right here, he patrols this far side here across this ledge. So literally all I could do is wait for him to split the difference between these two pats, pull him, and then hope for the best. And thankfully, it worked out great. I outran his breath and brought him all the way back to the cave, and it all worked out. So now this is something we went back and we reviewed, because I did that before we fought Baron, and what we've decided is, no, let's not worry about that. Let's just clear those first 3 or 4 packs, first 3 or 4 packs of elementals, flame guards, firewalkers. We kill them, the first 3 or 4 packs of them, and then let's just pull Baron. We'll fight him right here in the corridor, and that's going to be the end of it. So you've got 2 padding core hounds here. You've got this one right here, and then there's one that will literally right here. He'll come right down here through this corridor. And if you're not careful, he'll bite you in the rear end, which I don't think he does at this point. I think we actually are able to avoid him. I think we caught him at the top of his patrol, and we just came down here and pulled this one, and it was easy money. But in the future, we now know, hey, when we turn that corner, there's going to be a core hound most likely coming either going up or coming down this corridor. So be on the lookout for that for you pullers out there. But with that, guys, that's it. I mean, those are the majority of your tricky pulls. I might have missed one, but honestly, it's mostly straightforward. You just have to be sure to know what to look for. I think I've just about nailed all the most important points to look at and look for. So with that, guys, I'm going to leave you there. Just, again, most important thing is raid communication. You have to have a little bit of urgency here. Just make sure that people are aware of what's going on. Make sure that people are aware, hey, you know, what can we look for? What can we expect? You know, what am I doing? What am I pulling? What's the next? Warlocks, markers, whatever, tanks, off tank, you know, additional, you know, person to call out, things for behind, whatever. However you guys want to do it. There's no, you know, foolproof system. Anybody can do this, and everybody can have their own way of doing it. You can crack jokes. You can be a little more serious like I am. We were cracking jokes basically the entire time during the trash pool. And I think only once did the officer say, "Hey guys, you know, we need to make sure we're still paying attention. You know, we're BS and whatnot. That's fine. We don't want to be assholes about it, but you know, we need to make sure we stay focused." And you know, it was fine. We went through. We tightened things up a little bit and moved things right along. So I just want to see everybody succeed. I want everybody to have fun. And I've heard some people in my stream have told me that you know their guilds have fallen apart. And now they're stuck. They don't have anybody running raids. They have to pug everything. And I really hate seeing that. I really wish that I could help people in my stream that have to deal with that kind of situation, those kind of circumstances. And you guys on YouTube watching this video right now, I want to be there for you guys. I want to be able to help everybody. But when it comes to something like that, you know, you don't have the benefit of server transfer or cross server or anything like that. So you're just stuck, and it sucks. All I can say is just get out there, look for a guild on Reddit or look for a guild on you know, there's plenty of Discord servers out there that are there to help you find a guild. That's how I found my guild, you know, about 8 months ago, back in March. I didn't really start communicating with them until closer to, you know, May and June, but by the time I got into the guild in May, we were talking, we were getting excited, we were talking theory crafting and everything else. So it all turned out to work out in the end for me. And I know there's some people that are not quite as lucky, and that upsets me. So I'm just giving you guys the best advice I can. As far as these pools go, we're only going to get better. We're only going to get crisper. And hopefully you guys can get MC down to about an hour and a half. That's what our goal is right now. We're actually really close to hitting that marker. I think if we ended up taking like a 5 or 10 minute break at one point last night because we did both raids, and it's a 3-hour ordeal. And you know, last week we noticed people got a little burnt out when we didn't take a break. So I think that once we get going, we're probably just going to do Oni to start, and then we'll take a brief break. And then, you know, when we start MC up, you know, at, you know, 15 minutes after 8, whatever it is, because we start at like 7:30, we go to 15 after, you know, we do Oni, we go to MC, we go to Stormwind, we get our stuff taken care of, we get to MC, we rebuff, and then just before we pull, like, okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll pick back up. By then it'll probably be 15 after 8 or so, and then boom, we just push through, hour and a half, done before 10 o'clock, and everybody can wrap up and go home early. We almost did that last night, and it was really great to see that, and we're only going to get better, and especially when people get gear, this is even going to get easier. I'm glad to see Dire Maul coming out. It's got a couple of pieces of gear that I want that are going to make my life a little bit easier. The tarnished elven rings is basically the only thing that I want from Dire Maul. The Barber's Blade will be great, but even then it's only like a +6 attack power buff compared to the Peacemaker. So not a huge item on my to-do list, Dire Maul, but I definitely want to get me a couple of those rings, and then from there it's just, you know, keep doing MC every week, keep doing Oni every week, and potentially, you know, twice every other week or every 2 weeks, however it works out. I know we're doing a double Oni next week. That's gonna be exciting. So anyway, guys, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the little bell, and be sure to shoot me a shout out in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or if you want to see a different kind of video, or what kind of video you want to see in the future, duels perhaps, whatever, strats for beating other classes in duels. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's all I got for you. Love you as always. Stay kind to one another, and I'll see you in the next video. Zera out.